going to exit out of this. Yeah, I want to save that. Alright, so definitely keep this folder open off to the side somewhere. Now, since you've downloaded Silhouette Studio, we're going to go ahead and launch that. The first step that we're going to go ahead and do while this is loading up is we are going to create a blank template. This is what I was talking about before. Silhouette Studio 4.1. Okay, now that it's started up, it may ask you, hey, find out what's new. You can click next through all of the new stuff. I'm going to click exit out of that so we don't have to deal with that. A couple of things you want to go ahead and make sure you are doing before you even get started. Number one, lower right hand corner, there's a little tool sign here. Click on that to show your options. Okay, so a couple of things you want to do. Now, this print resolution is if you're going to use the registration marks like the video that I have in the description. You can make that 1200 dpi. Apply. There we go. Unit of measure, I do inches. You can do centimeters, millimeters, wherever you are in the world, whatever your preferences may be. Import. This is what we don't want. See that DXF? When we are importing from our folder into Silhouette Studio, we do not want it to fit to page. If it fits to page, it's going to shrink or expand it, something you do not want when you're creating armor for yourself and you have it the exact size that you got from the Pepakura file. If it's fit to page, it might be too small, might be too big. We want to change this to as is. Okay, I'm repeating this one, it's very important. Lower right hand corner, tools, up here in the options, import, DXF, you want to open as is, apply, so it's always going to do that. Alright, so we are all set, and hit OK. A couple of things that we want to go ahead and do is the page size is the default 12 by 12 mat. So right now it thinks that you're trying to work on a 12 by 12 cardstock paper. I get mine from Staples or any Hobby Lobby, whatever store. Is I think 65 pound, 110 pound weight. It is always 8.5 by 11 inches for me. So the page size, this is always going to be default here, page setup. The page size here is going to be letter, 8.5 by 11 inches. There, see, now it's all adjusted. The other thing I like to do is in this grid menu. So we have three options up here: page setup, the cutting mat. Here's a 12 by 12. I leave that to default. I don't have any other mats. I like to show the grid so I know exactly where I'm placing my now DXF former Pepakura file. There's another thing that I do in the third option. It's the registration marks. So I actually click on there for the Type 1 Cameo Portrait Curio. As you can see here, what's going to happen on the Cameo machine is when you slap on that piece of paper that has this mark on there and you put it exactly here on this 12 by 12 mat, this is the digital design for the 12 by 12 mat, it's going to look like this. The machine is going to look for this little black square to get started so it knows exactly where and how to cut. What I do is I make this as small as possible, 0.197 inches. I like to make that as small as possible. I just want to make this so I have enough room, more than enough room inside here to place all of my pages. Alright, So this is now ready to have an import of a design. So what we're going to go ahead and do, again, we're going to go back up to that folder that we had open previously, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So here's the very first one. As you can see, 6 pages. We're going to start with page 1. So I'm going to click, drag and drop. Here we go. So here's the error that you may get sometimes. As you can see, you dragged, you dropped, and now for some reason, hey, I can't move this. Well, it turns out the Cameo Silhouette Studio, it didn't pick up that image. Right now you're looking at a phantom image. It's actually not even supposed to be there. So if you ever get this issue before, go ahead and click and drag one more time. So we're going to click, drag, look at, you can now move it. So it does that from time to time. They're still working out the kinks. Okay, so this is ready to go. Now here's something that's a little bit different than the video from previous, the one that I'm learning from. I'm actually removing this registration mark. Now that I have what I want, I'm removing this registration. I'm going to turn that off. The reason why is because I'm actually not printing anything with ink. So when this is ready to go, I'm actually just going to grab a blank piece of cardstock paper and I'm going to put it right on the cutting mat and sticking it in the Cameo. The reason is it's faster. And every little piece that I've been working with, this little piece here, this front part of the cod piece, I know each of these little parts intimately. Every piece of the armor that I've been working with, because I've had to unfold it, refold it, change and edit all of the flaps, so I know exactly what piece goes where. So I don't need personally registration keys for myself, such as the part ID. I don't need the edge ID to match up. I know exactly where they should be matching up. If you're not familiar with that, or you don't want to go there and you're afraid you're going to get lost in putting all the essential 3D puzzle pieces together, then again, watch that video that I watched first, link in the description again. So now that this is what I want, I'm ready to create my cut settings. This is where the blue lines, the black lines, and the red lines come in handy. So we want to go up in the upper right hand corner. We want to click send. Don't worry, we're not sending it right now. So it looks like this. Alright, so what we actually want to do is, now that this is ready, it wants to just cut all of this stuff. We don't want that. So what we're going to do is, in the upper right hand corner of the menu, instead of simple, we're going to go click line. One of the 3 options we can click, we're going to click line. Now it shows here, look at red, blue, and black. So these are important now more than ever. So what we want to do is a few things. We've already established that our cut lines are going to be black. So we want to see the black lines here. It recognizes the black lines on the outside, so we did our part on the export of the DXF. So good job on that. Over to the right hand side, you're going to see what action you want to perform. And there are many actions you can do. Cut, score, sketch, stipple as well. So again, what you want to make sure the black lines are doing is cutting. The red and the blue lines you want to make sure are scoring. So on the red, we're going to go ahead and move over to the right, click down in the actions column, we're going to click score. Alright, we want to add a few more settings to this as well as the blue lines also. So if we look down here at the bottom, we'll see that there are blade lengths. We want, since we're scoring and we're not cutting, we want this as low as possible. So I'm putting it all the way down to 1. I want my speed even slower. I want my force to be 1 also. I want it to be as light and delicate as you can imagine, so it doesn't, again, cut all the way through. Now, what you can do is save the setting just for that line. So in the right after you've selected your blade length, again, very small, slow speed, low force, you want to save as value. With that, I'm just going to hit enter. Here we go. So that setting that you just saved, scroll all the way down, and there you go, valley. Then, as we can see, just to make sure, force 1, speed 4, 3, and that doesn't matter too much. I just like to keep it nice and slow so it doesn't mess up terribly. Again, the blade length is 1. So I'm actually going to do that again for the blue line. So I'm going to go ahead and move that down as low as possible. Well, there we go. Come on, you can do it. Force 1, speed 4, that's cool. Save as mountain. Hit enter. It's now saved as a option. So again, the material, I'm going to go ahead and click all the way down, mountain. And our settings are showing up here. Now we have the cut option. So the black lines. Change the blade length to 4. Speed can still be 4. You can move it up to 6 if you want. I kind of like 4. The force, I'm putting 20. I want hard pressure. That's what I want. I'm going to save as that option. I'm just going to title it cut. Enter. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to click cut. There we go. So our settings are here. So the material, it's going to be the cut, our customized settings. Action is going to cut. The tool is the auto blade. That's the new blade that's with the Cameo 3 Studio. Take a look at this. So it looks like we have a mistake here. So looking back up at the mountain line, look over here to the right. Look what action it wants to do. It actually says cut. So if we click back up to the blue line, we can actually change and mod this here and correct it. So what we're going to go ahead and do is change cut. I'm going to change it to score. There we go. So we can change the settings here as well. And now that you've corrected the settings, if you ever mess up, just click save, and now your, in this case, mountain setting, it's now showing all of these settings down here. So it's exactly the way we want it. So what is going to happen is that when you are ready to send this to the silhouette, the Cameo silhouette, what's going to happen is the machine is going to score the red line, score the blue lines, and then on the third pass, it's going to auto adjust from the blade length from 1 it's going to automatically change it to the blade length of 4 and then start cutting all of the black lines, all of the edges. So you don't need to put a pause if you've got the latest version of the Cameo Silhouette Machine and the latest version here of Cameo Studio. So you don't need to add that extra pause. It will do this automatically for you. So when you're ready to go, you can click send if you want.